Welcome, everyone, and thank you to Lux Innovation for hosting this event. Today, I want to tell you the story of how we got to over 30,000 users with zero budget. So, in November 2018, Mish and I launched Neon Marketing Technology. And today, as of today, we have three main products, which is one, the agency services. So, we're a full-fledged online marketing agency. We have an e-learning platform called the Neon Academy, and we have the Neon tools, which I'm going to explain a bit more later. So back then, I was using a bunch of different tools and different websites that often required separate subscriptions, which was not ideal to work, to say the least. So Mish being a developer, we decided to create the Neon tools to bring all of the tools that we regularly use together in one place. By November 2018, we were able to launch the first prototype of the Neon tools, and standing today, the Neon tools are a marketing toolbox that combines several tools like URL shortener, hash UTM generator, audience insights, tracking, and much, much, much more. So back then, we also started experimenting with ads, and we quickly stopped for the simple reason that we had a free product, and even though we were able to generate registrations for the tools, we didn't really have any return. Free, obviously. So for the next 14 months, we decided to focus on the agency, and we grew our organically via our blog and social media. And yeah, basically nothing happened for a long time until a very special day, the 15th of January of this year, where we actually had a huge spike in users of the kind of which we haven't really seen before. So on that, had over 7,000 visitors and 1,800 signups in one single day to our Neon tools. And from that day on, our average daily users went from 200 to 300 to over 1,000 users per day. And our global subscriber base went from 5,000 to 30,000 users. So what happened there? It all began with this guy. This guy is Jesse Eckel. He's a creator on several different social media platforms and also on TikTok. And when we saw that he was creating content for entrepreneurs, we simply dropped a comment without really having a lot of expectations. And yeah, it turned out that of his videos, making him the first influencers, the first influencer to make a video about the Neon tools on TikTok. And what happened after that is that other influencers started talking about the tools as well as they saw that people were interested, and this topic generated a lot of traffic, because you can see that these accounts are quite big with 200,000, 400,000, 9,000, and these are just three of several accounts that actually picked up the topic and made a video about the tools to promote them. So since that day, we've had over 100,000, 110,000 page visitors, as already mentioned, over 30,000 users, which allowed us to reach very competitive markets. So we had 21% of people, 10% coming from Australia, which would have been very hard to penetrate because of the high competitive nature of these markets. So things evolved. All of a sudden, we had this guy. He has a channel called Meaningful Marketing that made a video only about the tools. So we were not in a compilation of different tools, but it was only promoting this tool for entrepreneurs and how valuable it is. So I don't know if you can see it on the slide, but that post alone has 200,000 likes, was shared over 20,000 times. And our thank you comment that we as a company posted below his video, that comment alone got 1,500 likes. So as you can see, there's an overall very, very high activity and engagement on TikTok, which was baffling me because up to that point, I was really convinced that TikTok was only kids and people dancing in front of a camera, but all of a sudden TikTok drives us this high volume of qualified traffic that actually converted like crazy. And like no other channel, to be quite frank with you. Which brings us to the, let's say, meta topic of this presentation, which is the creator economy. So what is the creator economy and why is it important? The creator economy, as the name implies, is an economy created by creators, but creators not in the sense of, large TV station and studios, but because the creator economy is more decentralized and consists of countless individuals that create content for a living, which wasn't really that common before. So in 2021, social media platforms are basically competing to have these creators on their platform, since they are the ones that create the content that keeps users engaged. And of course, they love a platform like TikTok where they can get a lot of exposure, a lot of reach, because other companies and other social media platforms, they capitalize on reach, making it easier to grow on TikTok in this case. So these creators each build their own communities for which they constantly try to create value. And this value creation process brings us to the secret of marketing that also is behind this huge spike that we saw, is that word of mouth is still king. If these creators recommend something to their community listens to them. And this is very interesting because the concept of influencers in themselves is not new, right? We know this. But what is new is that with today's social media and the trends where the platforms are going, everybody can be a creator and build their audience faster than ever. And this audience trusts their opinion as experts, making them real opinion leaders for these people, and thus really giving them an influence over the decision-making process of certain people. And that's why the virality that we experienced with the tools can't be forced by simple marketing. It required us to innovate, to come up with innovation from within the company. And that was a process that took 2 years of zero revenue from a product, just believing in the product and building it from scratch. Which brings us to another important point, which are the informed customers, or the customers 4.0, if you will. These people, like you and me, they research products online, they find flaws in marketing and the product, and they simply won't be fooled simply by an ad. So if we want to make a buying decision, we're going to watch a YouTube video, do a Google research, ask our peers and colleagues, ask in our trusted communities. And that is the real power of word of mouth, because we all know that it feels great to recommend something to a friend, and that makes their life easier. And at the same time, we don't want to recommend something bad to our friends or people that trust our opinion, right? So in the future, many more people will have their own communities to monetize. And from a business point of view, every business should consider actually leveraging or spending their money to leverage other people's audiences, instead of putting all the time and effort into creating your own. So creating a community on your own obviously takes a lot of time and money, and you should really think if this is worth it when you can just leverage somebody else's audience. And this word of mouth that we're talking about, it can also come from friends or influencers you trust, but rarely directly from brands, because brands themselves obviously are not objective and therefore lack authenticity and are not credible to users. So a brand that says my product is the best, well, guess what? All the brands say that, so that message in itself is not very powerful. So at the end of the day, your product has to inspire customers and employees to become brand ambassadors. There is no shortcut to a good product. So let me give you an example what that means. In the next slide, you will see our lead designer, Julie. She started a TikTok channel in January of this year, and that channel has been very successful and is currently at 25,000 followers in these few months, which is just, I believe, not achievable organically on any other platform at this moment. So especially since if you don't have a prior audience to use. And as you can see, her most viral video had a reach of almost over 500,000 people, 500,000 people, which is just, it's crazy, right? It's mind-blowing. And the fact that she's using, for example, the short URL tool on her profile, and occasionally even wearing the neon merch like I am right now in her videos, gives us free exposure, making her a brand ambassador for us. So thanks to Julie, and if you're on TikTok, make sure to follow her. So what did we learn from all this? What does all this really mean? So the learnings that we found that I'm going to share with you is, first of all, you need to understand your audience and make a product that really helps them, and then let them do the talking for you, because they are always more credible than a brand talking about itself. And this brings us also to the process that we touched earlier. The decision-making process is changing. Decision-making is more and more based on word of mouth, but not traditional word of mouth, because these discussions and the decision-making process is migrating to online communities. So now you have Facebook groups, Discord channel, Telegram group, clubhouses, and many, many more platforms where these conversations and discussions happen. And if people, potential customers, ask about your product in this community or these communities, and they say it's bad, well, they won't buy it. And that's a very, very big lesson that you need to keep in mind, because you cannot influence and control the discourse in every community. Like this, you can only do if you really have a good product. And the other thing I want to go into detail a bit more is that, as we already said, this virality, the going viral and blowing up like this, was 2 years in the making. Even if it happened from one day or another, we worked for 2 years on a product without any return and basically invested in this product. So it is important to manage your expectations and understand that this process is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not something you can easily recreate in a very short time. So you have to keep improving and working towards this product that makes people want to talk about you. So what do these findings mean for the future of marketing? Innovation or innovating the product by being close to the community will be more and more important for future marketers. So these marketers will have to hang out in as many of these communities as possible and have their ear out to hear the feedback, what people think, which features they want, what they don't like, if something's not working, and including this in product design. Because at the end of the day, you are not the customer of your own product. Even if you are, you still want other people to like it and to buy it and to use it, right? So you need to use the possibility that you have with these new communities to actively listen what people expect from you and your product. And this also means that the future marketer will be focusing way more on incentivizing word of mouth in these communities and networks than creating the message or controlling the message. Because today, let's be honest, you can't control the message anymore. People will make comments, write reviews about your product in all kinds of communities, all kinds of places, and it's just impossible to be everywhere and make replies to every comment and explain why they're wrong and how it was intended. So that's not an option anymore. But what you can do is you can work with your community to make sure that your messages are as strong as possible and as real as possible. So in order to do this, this is the repetitive theme of this, we need to create a product that actually solves a problem. And if we are able to do this, the clients and the employees will automatically become brand ambassadors for you, because if somebody will ask them if they can recommend a product for their problem, they have to be so satisfied with you that your name drops without a hesitation. They will just recommend this honestly. And this means that also in terms of ads and advertising in general, your ads are only as efficient as the people that endorse your product. So if your ad says the product is awesome, but a simple Google and YouTube research will only reveal bad reviews and stuff that's not working, the best marketing, the best ads, the best funnels won't help you. So really don't underestimate informed customers, especially in our case where we had a very niche product that required a certain type of experience to actually understand and require this product also. So that brings me to the next point, which really is consider leveraging other people's audiences instead of trying to build your own, because people prefer following people rather than brands. And honestly, even if Julie had such a big growth, I don't believe that if we had or I would say that if we had tried to create an account that is as big as the account that featured us, and combining all of their audiences together, we would have to create a pretty big account. And you can see that in this case, by leveraging these accounts and playing along with the creator economy, you can have incredible results. So use your marketing to talk about you, to talk about how you innovate, to talk about your stories and which problems you solve. Because this, the old ways, the technologies, the things that worked 5 years ago are not working anymore. People are researching much more today, and an ad that just says buy my product or my product is better than product X and Y is not going to convince people. They're going to do their research and they will find out what's actually happening. So if you really innovate, people will eventually talk about it, and that will generate free marketing for you. Of course, you have to make sure that you're present in the communities and you need to be aware of where these discussions can happen. And lastly, if you spend more money on improving your product, you'll spend way less on advertising, because smart customers will find you eventually, and creators will pick you up eventually if you work towards it, and you stay a way better chance of using word of mouth to your advantage if you are actually keeping these learnings in mind. And also for us as a company, it opened our eyes and it made us realize a bunch of things that we are now exploring differently that we did up until this day. So that's it. I hope you learned something today, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Karim. Very, very inspiring indeed. I'll switch back in French for the questions if you don't mind.
Oui, bien sûr, bien sûr.
Alors, évidemment, c'est très intéressant parce qu'on voit le potentiel de TikTok et pour le coup, TikTok c'est pas vraiment là qu'on attend TikTok justement. Et moi, la première question qui me vient à l'esprit, c'est pourquoi TikTok? Est-ce que le cœur de cible est là et est-ce que pourquoi pas Instagram par exemple?
Bah, en fait, TikTok, ils ont été très intelligents. Ils ont tout de suite intégré Instagram dans leur application, donc c'était très facile de faire une interaction entre TikTok et Instagram. Et Instagram, qui appartient à Facebook, en fait, eux, c'est une des entreprises que j'avais dit auparavant qui capitalise sur la reach qu'ils donnent aux utilisateurs. Donc, sur Facebook, sur Instagram, ta reach, elle est très limitée, et si tu veux plus, il faut payer. Et en tant que nouvelle plateforme, TikTok est en fait assez évolué dans le sens qu'il donne de la visibilité aux gens. Ils ne mettent pas vraiment de limite sur la reach, mais ils laissent à l'algorithme décider ce qui est montré à d'autres personnes. Et c'est pour ça que beaucoup de créateurs font la transition sur TikTok, parce que sur TikTok, ils ont une organic reach. Ils peuvent, comme vous avez vu avec l'exemple de Julie, un compte avec 20 000 followers peut quand même créer une vidéo qu'après une demi-million de personnes vont voir. Et c'est justement cet effet de organic reach qui, ouais, qui joue avec les expressions d'un créateur ou d'une personne, parce que tout le monde qui est sur les réseaux sociaux veut avoir une audience, veut que les gens voient le contenu, et TikTok, voilà, les promouvoit avec justement ça.
Ok, très bien. Très bien. Tu as beaucoup mentionné, alors tu as mis en avant évidemment le potentiel ou le pouvoir tout ce qu'on appelle influencer marketing, y compris vraiment le contenu généré par les utilisateurs, le user-generated content. Donc ça, c'est vraiment, si tu prends vraiment la stratégie contenu de demain, est-ce que, selon toi, l'influenceur marketing, c'est quand même ce qui va prédominer dans les tendances Marcom? Ou est-ce que, voilà, comment t'as beaucoup parlé du futur du marketing et de la communication. Est-ce que demain, l'influenceur marketing, avec tout ce qui se passe sur les plateformes comme Instagram, comme TikTok, est-ce que c'est l'avenir? Est-ce que c'est chaque marque qui devrait être présente là-dessus et qui devrait ajouter ça dans sa stratégie digitale?
Je crois qu'en effet, ça sera beaucoup plus important et beaucoup plus puissant que ce l'est aujourd'hui, et aussi beaucoup plus utilisé. Par contre, je crois que c'est la symbiose de tous ces facteurs. Donc, comme j'ai donné l'exemple plus tôt, si je vois une publicité quelque part et que je vais faire une recherche sur Google ou YouTube ou où tu veux, si je trouve que des bad reviews et si je trouve pas vraiment, des commentaires qui me rassurent qu'il y a de la qualité et que c'est un bon produit, je ne vais pas l'acheter. Donc je crois que dans cet écosystème, de publicité, cette social proof, elle sera beaucoup, beaucoup plus importante et aussi dans le sens que une entreprise qui parle de son propre produit n'est jamais si authentique qu'un client qui n'est pas payé et qui dit juste ce qu'il pense sur le produit. Et surtout s'il a une audience qui le respecte pour ça. Alors ça, c'est des chaînaux très, très, très puissants. Et je crois vraiment que dans le futur, euh, beaucoup plus de gens vont monétiser leur audience. Il va y avoir beaucoup plus de network décentralisés. Donc maintenant, l'émergence de Clubhouse, Discord, des groupes Telegram, des groupes WhatsApp, ça va continuer. Et les réseaux, ils vont se répartir justement dans ces groupes. Et il faut être attentif à ce qui se passe. Et je crois que chaque entreprise fait très très bien à veiller que les clients aiment leurs produits le plus possible et d'innover le produit d'une façon qui bénéficie les clients potentiels. Parce qu'après, s'il n'y a pas de clients, il n'y a pas d'entreprise. Donc, je crois que dans le futur, les, les, moi, je préfère dire les creators que les influenceurs. Tout le monde qui crée du contenu va monétiser ceci et par exemple des affiliates avec des micro-influencers et travailler avec ces personnes-là pour justement to reach une cible hyper niche ciblée, ça sera beaucoup plus common dans le futur que ce l'est aujourd'hui.
Ok. J'ai une dernière question pour toi. Tu as parlé de client 4.0. Je trouve que c'est une notion un peu intéressante, enfin intéressante du point de vue Marcom. Comment tu vois ce Customer 4.0, le client à l'avenir? Est-ce qu'il y a un élément communautaire? On a bien compris. Là aussi, ça va nécessiter à la Marcom d'évoluer dans le sens de voilà, la génération millennials, etc.
Oui, je crois qu'en fait, cette génération de sont éduqués et aussi ils veulent faire l'effort de faire de la recherche profonde avant d'acheter un produit. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, l'utilisateur 4.0, il a autant de choix. Il peut choisir entre une multitude de produits, pas seulement locaux, mais digitaux, accessibles 24 sur 24 d'une entreprise qui peut se trouver partout. Et en conséquence, ils sont beaucoup plus critiques avant d'acheter. Et aussi, ce qui est très important, c'est de comprendre qu'ils ne veulent pas être embêtés par des pubs et du marketing. Parce qu'ils se disent, moi, je sais comment faire une recherche, je sais que je n'aime pas ton produit ou j'aime ton produit. Et après, je veux que, ou les gens, ils veulent que on les laisse tranquilles s'ils n'ont pas besoin de l'entreprise. Donc, ils ont aussi cette attente de ne pas être constamment bombardés et avoir des spam mails, parce qu'il n'y a personne qui aime les spam mails, franchement. Donc, ça, c'est des pratiques qui sont en train de diminuer de plus en plus. Et la qualité est vraiment avoir des leads qualitatifs, des personnes qui sont très intéressées et de laisser tout le monde tranquille qui n'est pas intéressé. Ça fait une grande partie du Customer 4.0 qui est assez informé, qui a une opinion et qui n'est pas vraiment intéressé à écouter un brand qui veut changer son opinion.
Très bien. Merci beaucoup, Karim. On te retrouve au panel tout à l'heure pour parler davantage sur tous ces sujets. Je vais te demander